I vividly remember this feeling that I had during my teenage years, where I felt kind of weak, insecure, unsure about myself. And this feeling, looking back at it, it stemmed from the fact that I didn't know how I would respond to a situation where I was truly pushed, or when my back was against the wall, or if someone was truly poking me. I didn't know how I would react. Would I actually fight him, and most importantly, would I actually win the fight? So having all these doubts, it kind of made me feel insecure and weak. And this insecurity sort of bled into other domains of my life. And it's natural because I didn't have a response ready for a given situation. So naturally, I picked on a martial art, started training, lifting weights, and over time, I grew in confidence. Not because I was exceptionally good at uh, any particular martial art or I was knocking people out left and right. No, not because of that. It was primarily because now I knew that I had a tool that I could unleash when the situation demanded it. I had a plan. I had a way to defend myself in case if I was ever pushed down to the limits. The very fact that I had a plan now made me feel more confident and reduced my anxiety and alleviated all my insecurities. Growing up now, I also believe that there's certain roles that a man must fulfill. A man must be able to provide for those he loves and protect those he loves. And naturally, in order to protect someone, you need to have the skills to protect yourself. Can you stand up for someone? Sure. But being untrained and standing up for someone is, yeah, it's kind of hard, right? It's like trying to it's like trying to save a drowning person. You need to know how to swim. You need to have the skills to defend yourself in order to actually defend someone else. This is another reason why martial arts is so important. I always imagine this scenario where I'm with a loved one, my mother or sister, and I'm required to defend them in that particular scenario. It could be for a variety of reasons, but the most frequent one that pops in my head is someone harassing them. As a man, you are required to protect your loved one if someone harasses them. And I always imagine myself in that particular situation as to how I would confront the the aggressor. And this thought at times it haunts me. It kind of gets me moving. It kind of gets me to the training sessions that hey, there might be a day where I'm required to defend someone I really, really love from an aggressor. And I would hate to imagine myself being knocked out cold by that aggressor in front of my loved ones. I think that's a healthy fear to have as a man. Not saying I'm possessed by these thoughts, but they do pop up occasionally and they motivate me. They motivate me to be a better man, to be a better martial artist, to train, to perhaps get off my desk job and learn how to defend myself. Another thing that I realized since I started training is that I was more willing to speak my mind. I was more willing to stand up for myself. For human beings, they don't just speak the very thoughts that come to their mind. They often filter their thoughts. And one of the reasons why we filter our thoughts is because we are kind of scared of the repercussions of the words that we utter. But have knowing at the back of my mind that I can defend myself in case a situation demands that I defend myself, it kind of made me more free. It kind of allowed me to say what I meant to say, even though it was at times against the narrative or it was something that was a bit confrontational. I no longer allowed people to just walk all over me. I actually started to stand up for myself. And this was something that I would attribute to learning martial arts because I knew if push came to shove, I knew if the confrontation escalated beyond words, I had the tools necessary to defend myself. I had the tools necessary to back my claims. I also feel in the 21st century, especially in the West, weakness and cowardice are being packaged as virtues and being offered to young men. that somehow being weak, harmless, and incapable of causing any physical harm, even when the situation justifies it, is somehow a virtue. I don't believe the rabbit is a virtuous animal because it is incapable of causing harm. A rabbit is just a rabbit. It's harmless, not because it chooses to be, but because it is incapable of causing harm. I think there's a big difference between the two. To have the ability to cause harm and be aggressive, and yet control it, and yet tame yourself enough such that you can channelize that energy when the situation justifies it, I think that is virtue. Not just being a victim of life and being harmless. Also, a man truly needs an outlet. I feel this ball of energy building inside of me. And this energy needs to be channeled and put into something productive, physically, not just cognitively. And martial arts is that one thing that gives you the most bang for your buck. Any energy that you channelize in martial arts, you pretty much receive a bunch of skills that you can apply in multiple domains of life. What I mean by that is, suppose if you just channelize this energy into a ball sport, yeah, sure, you become, let's say, an excellent basketball player, but that skill is limited within that domain, within the basketball court. Outside of the basketball court, you're just back to normal. Whereas with martial arts, these skills that you carry it with you in every single room that you enter, knowing at the back of your mind that you can defend yourself if the situation demands it to be. All what I've described are just the psychological and the mental benefits of martial arts, but there are some key physical benefits as well. Firstly, what I realized is after a hard training session, you feel happy. And it's mainly due to dopamine released after a tough training session. It's like your body rewards you for doing something hard. You feel good. You feel proud of yourself. The cocktail of neurotransmitters and hormones that your brain releases when you are breathing heavy, when you're doing a tough cardio session or a tough weightlifting session. Your brain being soaked in that cocktail, it has a bunch of benefits. Your memory improves. You become far more sharper cognitively. At least in my experience, after a workout, I feel really, really sharp. I have the best ideas that I've ever had. They're usually right after my workouts. Lastly, what I observed was exercise can actually produce energy. And I know this is counterintuitive, but just training the right amount can actually produce energy. It makes you feel more active. It makes you feel more motivated. Now, I don't mean you undertrain or you kill yourself in the training session. Both, I feel, are kind of regressive to a degree, but training just the right amount can actually increase the energy that you have during the day. So these were my reasons why every man needs to learn how to fight, the mental and the physical ones.